because we're going to discuss this in just a little bit. Doc read my bio. I appreciate that, Doc, very much. Before I get started speaking about, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, my career, what I've experienced, and basically share my story. But before I start, I want to recognize Robert Doc Hernandez for coordinating this and putting this all together, and DAV Chapter 1. Putting this all together, Mission Barbecue, and the ROTC and the Junior ROTC Honor Guards. Fantastic work. I want to point that out. All of you are sharp. Continue this work. I was standing in your same spot in 1991, and I never stopped. And I still do it now when I'm physically capable through the Knights of Columbus. I'm a member of their honor guard. So keep going, keep it going. All the leaders from the city, thank you for being here. I personally am someone that you support. So I want to share my story, and what I want to start with is, Doc, as he mentioned, I was very lucky and had a magnificent career. Can everybody hear me okay? I don't like microphones that much, so I started out in the Air Force as a security forces nuclear personnel in Grand Forks, North Dakota. My job was to control entry and exit into the missile silos, which is really kind of a top secret job, right? Not many of us get it. My fellow airman, he'll know exactly what I've done. Yeah. So they had this saying that once you get into missiles, you never get out, right? Because it takes so much to get there. Challenge accepted. So I'm going to get out of missiles. The only way I got out of missiles was by going to the 916th Security Forces Squadron at Seymour Johnson, North Carolina. So, Security Forces is the only thing that the Air Force had at the time that is comparable to infantry combat units. We were expeditionary. So it was very, a radio telephone operator. I know that a lot of people are like, oh man, was that one of the things you got to crank, No, it was pretty high speed back then, in 2001. My job was to work with the Army. There were two of us in Army terms, ADOC, BDOC, everybody understands. When the Army would need, when they were out on the perimeter, it'd be myself and usually a colonel, an Air Force colonel, maybe captain, that would call in fire missions. When they called in fire missions, my job was to directly relay the aircraft where to drop the ordnance. Great experience for an airman, right? Supposed to be flying planes. I got to do something with planes. No. I was wearing an Army uniform with Air Force name tapes on it. But the good thing about that is it gave me experience. It gave me a good taste of what my brothers and sisters of the other services do. So I really enjoyed that. Well, the Air Force thought it'd be okay to reward me with allowing me to pick a job. So I got yet another opportunity. I was like, you know what? I like the bombers, B-2s, stealth bombers, B-1Bs. I love that. So I went into electronic warfare. I had a really good time about that. Can't talk much about that, obviously. That's a lot of secret stuff, but we had a lot of fun. I'll just say I spent a lot of time in the western part of the United States. Then I had an opportunity. I started receiving a lot of awards as NCOIC. I want to expand on that. That's non-commissioned officer in charge. So first and foremost, I'm a veteran. Secondly, I am a master sergeant. So I'm an enlisted person, and that's what NCOIC means, is non-commissioned officer in charge. I started winning a lot of awards. We have a very prestigious award in the Air Force, the Lance Peace Side-John Leadership Award. I won it 6 consecutive years at least the numbered Air Force level. The Air Force recognition ribbon, I heard that mentioned. A lot of people say, oh, well, you get that for just showing up, right? No, a lot of people think that, but that ribbon is to recognize the #1 person of that particular AFSC, which is our MOS, in the entire United States Air Force. #1. And that is awarded to you by the Chief of Staff. So that's why I mentioned that ribbon. That's probably the hardest decoration I've ever earned. But I got one more that was even harder to earn, and I'll go into that in a minute. I've served time in Iraq. I've served time, I was at the very end of Desert Storm, Southwest Asia Service Medal. I wrapped my tour up in November. I was doing Northern Watch, humanitarian aid for the Kurdish. My job was to protect the aircraft so that we could drop supplies to the refugees. And then went to Iraq. I was been to Iraq, Afghanistan. I went to another operation. That's where we got the Global War on Terrorism Expeditionaries, because obviously we're bombers, so I was able to be on a little island somewhere, and we would send our bombers long range to give the Taliban gifts. So, and I enjoyed that. It was a good tour. It was a good tour. Then I had probably two of the best opportunities in my life. Number one was to join the Honor Guard. And we'll talk about the hat. I would love to put that hat on, but I spent too much time in the Honor Guard. I can't because I don't have the rest of my uniform. Plus, I'm a little bit more voluptuous now, so I can't fit in it. But that hat is the United States Air Force Honor Guard hat. That hat has served around 570 details. When I say detail, that's funerals, that is colors presentations, and I was also the non-commissioned officer in charge of the Honor Guard. So my job basically, and there's a little bit of a Air Force historical fact with that, I am the first 8G1000, which is the MOS for United States Air Force Honor Guard, to serve at Arlington. I am the first Honor Guardsman to reach 570 details. I'm also the first Honor Guardsman to serve outside of DC. I went to a base to establish an Honor Guard program because it's a congressional mandate for us. And we just so happened to win the Honor Guard unit for the entire Air Force all 3 years I was there. So a little bit of my Honor Guard experience. I've had the pleasure as an Honor Guardsman to serve in the Garden of Stone. You got this. You got this. I'm good. I'm good. Okay. So, let me get my bearing back here. It's a precious place. It's a very precious place where our brothers and sisters are. While I was there, one thing that sticks in my mind is it was at the beginning of OEF, Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom. All right, I'm good now. While I was serving there, it was towards the beginning of the operation, and we could see where they had cleared a part of the cemetery, and they were doing fresh interments. So I'm not sad. It's precious. It's a memory that I will always have. And it's an honor. I also had the honor, and this is a magnificent story. I don't know how it happened, but I also got to present Lieutenant Colonel DeBoer, which is my wife's grandfather. I got to hand his colors to her family. I'm so proud of that. It's a good thing. I'm gonna get my stuff together here in a minute, but I'm not gonna stand down. I'm gonna continue. But it was such an honor because I met the colonel when he was alive. Wonderful man. If you want to talk about a hero, let's talk about World War II and let's talk about our Vietnam veterans. Okay? I don't feel I'm worthy to walk in the same ground that they did. However, he told me when I met him, he said, at the time I was a staff sergeant. E5. He told me, I want you to carry my colors at Arlington. Well, at that time, I was doing electronic warfare. So I'm like, how can I get to Arlington to carry that colonel's colors? Well, I did what I had to. I did what I had to. And it was my pleasure, and in my bio, I have some pictures of it where I'm actually presenting the colors to my wife's family. That was one of the most special times in my career. To be an honor guardsman and present my grandfather by marriage, to present that colonel's colors. It was such an honor. So with that being said, with the honor guard, we have a saying, it's called to honor with dignity. To honor with dignity. Okay, I want everyone to keep that saying fresh in your mind. To honor with dignity is the mission of the honor guard. That hat was signed, and some of my sweat took the signature off because I made a promise to one of the few Tuskegee airmen that are still alive. He has since passed, but that lieutenant colonel's signature is on the bill of that honor guard hat. It was so precious to me, I wanted to take it home and put it away. But he said no. He goes, I want you to wear that hat, and I want you to wear it in Arlington. So half his signature's gone, but you guys are welcome to look at it. But one of the few Tuskegee airmen that I had the privilege of meeting, his signature's in the bill of that hat. Now, let me move on from the honor guard. But what a pleasure it was, and what an honor to carry Colonel DeBoer's colors. Another interesting story about Colonel DeBoer is he re-enlisted me as I put on tech sergeant, which is E6, and I made a promise that I would let no other officer ever swear me in. So after the colonel, Katie's grandfather, re-enlisted me, just so happened that I got noticed from the honor guard and some things I was doing. And in the Air Force, it's a little different. I think in the Navy, they have culinary specialists, CS mess specialists that the generals take, and they become enlisted aides, right? They work for generals. In the Army, it's kind of similar, because the reason I know is because I worked with a lot of the Army aides. Well, in the Air Force, it doesn't work like that. The generals find you and they take you, okay? I'm sitting in my office, my vault, electronic warfare, and I get a call from Lieutenant General Lauren Reno from the Pentagon. He said, hey, you're gonna come out to DC next week. And I'm like, first of all, you're a 3-star general, why are you talking to me and not my commander? He's all, I've already told everybody. I'm like, okay, well, I'll be out in Washington, DC. So then I became an enlisted aide. When I went out there, he said, do you know what enlisted aide is? I was like, I have no clue. I'm a mechanic, you know? And he said, well, he goes, you know how you fix your bombers, you fix your C-130s, you do all that. I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, I'm your plane. And I was like, okay. So my job was to basically follow that general around and make sure that everything was perfect. In other words, they trust an E6 at the time. I made E6 in the honor guard, but I made E7 as an aide. At the time I was an E6, and I was like, you trust an E6 to tell a lieutenant general what to do and where to go? And he said, absolutely. He goes, because that way I know it's gonna be done the way I like it. So I was working with that general for about 3 years, and then that general, the chief of staff, the 19th chief of staff of the Air Force, the same chief of staff of the Army, the CNO, the chief naval officer. It's our top ranking general. He took me from the 3-star. Obviously, we know how that works. So I had the privilege of, yet again, guess where I found myself? Can anyone take a guess? Arlington National Cemetery. So for those that don't know, the chief of staff's houses, there's a row of housing inside Arlington, Fort McNair, Marine Corps. So every day that I went to work, I'm driving right through the middle of Arlington to go, because I work in the general's house. You know, it's where the aides work. So I find myself back in Arlington, which is beautiful. I mean, it's just a great experience. it's a great experience to be able to see, to see our senior leaders at work and what they do, and work with the different services. I retired that chief of staff, and there was another 4-star general that picked me up after that, and that's when I finished my career. I followed him to Hawaii, which that sucked. Not really. Didn't ask my wife about that. Well, she had a great time. I found myself spending more of my time in Singapore and Korea, and because my job, like I said, was to follow him. I was with him everywhere he went. If you look up my name, you'll probably see some videos on the internet with myself in general. So that was my career, and I apologize for getting emotional, but that's strong. You got to be there. You got to feel it, and but you got to understand, it's not a sad cry. It's a proud cry. It's an honorable cry, and it is something that, everything, all the gifts in my life I've had, that's one of the most precious, was to be able to honor with dignity, to serve my fellow veterans, to serve my family, my brothers and sisters. I don't care what someone's branch of service is, because you know what? We have all in this room that we've achieved the highest rank. We've achieved the highest medal, and guess what that is? Veteran. Okay? Veteran. That's the highest thing we've all achieved. And I can tell you, with achieving that title, we all know stolen valor, right? Everybody wants to be us. Right? But we earned it, and we've earned every single emotion, every single entitlement. Where's the captain at? Is the captain in here? The ROTC captain.
All right, she's gone.
She's gone? Oh, I had a message for her. Sir, pass this to her if you will. Okay. I want to talk about veteran entitlements. Okay. I don't like the word benefit. Everybody in this room has earned every single thing that you have. Abraham Lincoln is the one that established the Department of Veterans Affairs. He established the Department of the VA because he said no veteran or veteran's widow will have to suffer. Okay? So every benefit, every disabled veteran in here, every check you get, every appointment that we have to wait a little bit, but every appointment we get at the VA and everything we do is an earned right. That's why when we help people, and when you are filing these claims and getting these people, not their benefits, you're getting what is due. And what is sad is we see that some people go so long without this help. Our brothers and sisters go without this. So the DAV, we need to find them. VFW, we need to find them and help them and give them what they earn. That is their right. The reason that I say that it's their right is because, what is the cliche? Oh, we signed a blank check. I know everybody's heard that, right? Right. No. We have sacrificed our physical and our mental well-being for our nation. So it's okay for our nation to sacrifice to help us. Disabled veterans, some things I want to point out. We face a set of unique challenges, okay? Our challenges that we face are transitional, right? We go from 150 miles per hour for 26 years, and then the next day, 0. It makes you lose purpose. It makes you lose focus. It makes you feel worthless, okay? And I know everybody in this room has felt that because we have all been through that transition. Yep. One thing with that transition, okay, it's important for us to support our fellow brothers and sisters in giving them a sense of purpose and belonging, and supporting them and telling them how proud they should be of their service. It's such an honor. It's such an honor to wear this hat, to see that hat, to see aerosol. You know, it's beautiful. The Air Force badge, you know, I gotta bring that up. So let's come together, okay? Let's come together as a community, as a brother and sisterhood, as a family. And let's seek out our disabled veterans, and let's help them, and let's guide them to get their God-given, earned right as a veteran. I do have to throw some stats in because I'm a nerd like that. But I want to talk about just a couple more things, and I'll wrap it up. Veteran homelessness. I want to talk about that because there's some good news here. There's some good news, and this is directly related to the Department of the sources Department of Veterans Affairs, but it's related to what the DAV does. Since 2010, we have had an overall reduction in veteran homelessness by 52%. That's amazing. It's amazing. However, in 2023, there has been a 7.4% increase. So we're kind of sliding back down that hill a little bit, and there were 35,574 of our brothers and sisters that were experiencing homelessness on a single night in January 2023. So 35,574. And that's, I want to say that. I say our brothers and sisters. Our services, okay, whatever branch you're in, doesn't matter now. We're all in the same branch, right? We're in the veteran branch. So we've got 35,000 of our muster, our formation, our flight, our squadron, our platoon, whatever you want to call it. They're out there. We got to get them. Let's talk about veteran suicides, okay? Overall numbers in 2022, there were 6,407 suicides among veterans. Gender, and I bring this up on purpose. The suicide rate for female veterans decreased by 24.1%, while the males increased by 1.6. The reason I bring that up is because we need to take care of each other. It's our responsibility to do that. One thing that this affects us, you wrapping me up, Doc? I'm almost done. You got
I got some of the beauty.
The Veterans Benefits Administration, there's 1.9 million compensation and pension claims right now, breaking the previous year's record by 15.9%. So that means we're probably doing our job, but I want to put that on everyone's radar because it also puts the pending at 125 days or greater. I'll wrap it up. As a veteran, the mission only increased when we left the military. It's never finished, and right now is the most important mission we'll ever have in our life. So I want to end it to honor with dignity.